Russia is withdrawing its strategic bombers from Ukrainian border following Kiev's surprise drone strikes on Russian airfields on Sunday. Kremlin is transferring its military aircraft to various parts of the country, even to northeasternmost region of Chukota, fearing new UAV attacks by Ukraine, local Telegram channels have reported. One of the two 160 strategic bomber missile carriers has been spotted at the Anadyr airfield in Chukotka Peninsula, 6,770 kilometers from Ukraine and only 660 kilometers from the western borders of the United States. At least 41 Russian strategic bombers worth $7 billion, including two 22M3 and two 95MS, were destroyed as Ukraine's security service conducted a large-scale attack on 4 Russian military airfields on Sunday. The attack is believed to severely undermine Russia's air defenses. Codenamed the Spiderweb, the military operation had been in preparation for a year and a half. It was prepared in a few stages. First, Ukrainian FPV drones were smuggled into Russian territory, where they were hidden in wooden makeshift houses placed on trucks near airfields. Next, the drones were activated via remote controller and directed towards designated military targets. The historic operation became Ukraine's longest-range attack and destroyed 34% of Russia's fleet of air missile carriers. The large-scale attack reminded Moscow that no military infrastructure was safe from Ukrainian attacks. Ukrainian leader Volodymyr Zelensky hailed the operation as brilliant, stressing that all security service employees involved in the attack had been safely removed from the territory of Russia. Russian President Vladimir Putin on Wednesday said Kremlin would respond to Ukraine strikes. The SBU Special Operation, Spiderweb, which has already become a legend, is a harbinger of Russia's defeat in the war. By the end of the year, aggression will have to be curtailed on very unfavorable terms. This opinion was expressed by Russian Z-blogger and propagandist Maxim Kalashnikov. He expressed admiration for the Ukrainian operation to eliminate Russian strategic aviation aircraft. The Russian Federation has fallen into the web of the special operation, Spiderweb. It's a fact. We see that we are facing a special operation that will really make it into textbooks. It was carried out very skillfully. This is both a blow to the military structure, to our combat capability, and a moral and political blow. A sensitive blow, very sensitive. And most importantly, it is a very strong blow to the authority of our government, special services, counterintelligence. The blow was first-rate. As a result of the Spiderweb operation, the prospect of our defeat in the war has dawned. Yes, you heard right, Kalashnikov said. He stated that Russia is running out of time for aggression. We see another plan from the enemy, to take advantage of the weakness of the Russian Federation, to prolong military operations in order to wait until a very strong economic crisis breaks out in Russia at the end of 2025 with a drop in production, layoffs, an unpleasant operation with bank deposits, devaluation of the ruble, hyperinflation. Our government will face the fact that it can no longer conduct military operations. A collapse will begin in the rear, as in 1917. Russia will be forced to agree to a truce on very bad terms. And for this they prepared Spiderweb, stated the Z Patriot. Recall, Z channels are in shock over the UAV raid on Russian Aerospace Forces airfields. Russian propagandist fighter bomber, who writes about aviation, advised Russians to prepare for difficult news. The drones were used from the shortest distance, it was impossible to remove the aircraft from the attack, as well as to use Panzers, S-300s, etc. against them. I think the attack was unexpected for the PPV squads with Jedi swords. So the news is unlikely to be good. Neither the tires, nor the planes drawn on the concrete, nor the Jedi swords, nor the PPVs every 100 meters saved the planes. It will later be called a black day for Russian long-range aviation. Russians launched their long-anticipated summer offensive on Kharkiv, aiming to reverse the losses suffered in 2022 and collapse the Ukrainian from Vovchansk. But as Russian Spetsnaz units led the charge, they were met head-on by French Special Forces volunteers fighting for Ukraine, triggering an unexpected brutal clash, Euromaidan press reports. The goal of the Russian forces in this area is to retake the territories lost to the Ukrainians during the 2022 Kharkiv counteroffensive and achieve what they failed to do last year in 2024. If Russians achieve a breakthrough at Vovchansk, they will continue their offensive along the Seversky Donets River and threaten to outflank the Ukrainian forces at Kupiansk, placing the Ukrainians at risk of frontline collapse, and taking much of the territory in the process. Recall, Russians had already initiated the first phase of their attacks with large reconnaissance in-force operations, meant to test the Ukrainian defenses, but were destroyed even before they crossed the administrative border. These and other assaults indicate that Russians are already setting their plans in motion, Euromaidan press says. Zooming into Vovchansk, the entire town was left in ruins after the brutal fighting that took place during the initial Russian offensive of 2024 and subsequent positional battles within the town. The Russian forces are in control of the northern part of the town, holed up in basements, as there are no standing buildings left. Meanwhile, the Ukrainian forces are positioned in the southern part of the town along the riverbank and in the local aggregate plant, allowing the Ukrainians to maintain a tactical presence in the town. This enduring tactical presence and the severe damage to the town itself created a no-man's land between the Russian and Ukrainian lines, where the collapsed buildings and ruins prevent either side from establishing long-term positions, Euromaidan press reports. In Vovchansk, the scale of destruction has left Russian infantry units exposed, with no intact buildings or basements for cover. Forced to operate in open rubble, they become easy targets for Ukrainian drones. Over a year of futile assaults has turned the town into a graveyard of Russian troops, each wave falling where the last one died, forced to walk over each other's bodies. However, the Ukrainians did not leave this area undefended, as a contingent of Ukrainian foreign fighters was located there. The Russian special operatives were caught off guard as they encountered their match in elite, ex-special forces, French volunteers serving with the Ukrainian military intelligence. Overall, in Russian strategic doctrine, there is no diversionary offensive, as their forces will persistently try to exploit a breakthrough anywhere and whenever possible, Euromaidan press says. This makes holding the line in the Kharkiv sector crucial, as maintaining a strong defense will make it unlikely that the Russians will continue their attacks and instead concentrate their forces elsewhere.